is that we always need to, one, undo and take care of our addition and subtraction to cancel out our constant, okay? You do the opposite of what you see. I see subtraction here, so I want to add to cancel it out. Now, if you had $1.00, remember, you have to add in your decimals so it doesn't cancel each other. Now watch those place values. And so then I get 5 and 2/10. Bring down that negative with that 4x. A lot of students forget this negative up here. That has to come back down. All right, so then our next thing that we have to do is we get rid of either multiplication or division using the opposite or inverse operation. So in this case, we see a negative 4x. That is a negative 4 times x. It's multiplication. Opposite multiplication is division. Okay? Don't forget that negative again. Gotta take that sibling home with you. The reason why we do that is so that these negative 4s cancel each other. But I can't, in my head, using my rules, divide 5 and 2/10 by 4. So we need to take and do our work a little bit off to the side. Now, 4 is already a whole number, so you don't need to do any moving of the decimal. Just do your long division. And then remember your decimal here goes straight up. And then we get that x equals a negative. Okay, I'm going to put that in a different color. Remember, you have to put your solution. Okay? That's our third thing, the solution. Remember, it has to be written with a variable equaling a value. And it's a negative because we have different signs. The negative 1 and 3/10. Then remember, we are always checking for our work. Some of you are getting lazy on the checking. You gotta make sure when you're checking, you keep the equation exactly as it is. You're not changing anything. Then where x is where our solution goes. Okay? So a negative 1 and 3/10. We cannot put a check mark. We don't know if for real this is the correct solution. I do know a negative times a negative makes a positive. We're going to have a -1, and we're going to have a 4 and 2/10. Now we can take our 1 and 3/10 times 4. 4 times 3 is 2. 4 times 1 plus 1 is 5. Move your decimal only one spot to get 5 and 2/10. Well, if I have $5.20 and you take $1 away, I only got $4.20, which is exactly what we wanted. And so then we can say we've checked our solution. Right? And make sure you're watching where those decimals go. All right, the next side, we have 30 and 900 equals 1 and 2/10 minus 3x. Remember, we want to get rid of any addition or subtraction. Now, there may not be a plus sign right here to show that that's a positive number, but it's positive. There's no negative there. So the opposite of a positive is a negative. Remember, whatever you do to one side, you got to do to the other side. Remember, you have to line up your decimals. Okay? That makes these cancel. And I'm left with a negative 3x. You've got to bring this whole part down. And then I can do my math. Okay? This becomes a 29, it's an 8, keep my decimal, and 28. Now we need to make sure that we do our actual division. Okay, remember, we're dividing because that's multiplication. And when we divide with whole numbers, we don't need to move our decimal because it's already where it needs to be. All right, so 3 can go into 28 9 times. So my decimal is right straight above, minus 27. Then we'll bring down our 8. 3 goes into 18 6 times. Okay, minus 18. And then bring down our 9. And 3 goes into 9 3 times. Not done dividing until you have a 0 and have used all the digits. Okay. Oops, I forgot to put that in color code. So we had our division of -3 in blue. Okay. So then our solution is x equals, I have a negative and a positive, so it's a negative answer, 9 63/100. Okay. Then remember to check your work. Take your 30 and 900 equal to 1 2/10 minus 3 times a negative 9 and oh. Now this is where we're going to multiply this out. Well, I know I'm going to get a subtraction of a negative number. And this is going to stay the same. So I can do my work off to the side, take my 9 63/100 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 6 is 18. 27 plus 1 is 28. 2 hops to put our decimal. Now, if I have subtraction of a negative, I really have addition of a positive. Gotta do the adding of your opposites. 2 and 8 make a 0. And carry 1 over. 8 and 2 make another 10. So we actually did get what we needed there. Okay, so make sure you slow down, do your computation work, and check your answers. All right. Still some decimals. What's the opposite of a negative number? A positive. Remember, you're doing the same number, but when you come over here, you're going to need to line up the decimal. That means I actually kind of got to add in a 0. These cancel, and I'm left with a half times x. Now, I have different signs. That means I'm actually taking 2 90/100 minus, and I'm going to keep my negative number because $2.90 is more than 87 cents. So this becomes 10, 8, a negative 203. All right. Then we still have a multiplication of a half. That means we are going to divide by our 5/10. Okay, so now we need to do our division. But this is where things get a little bit tricky. We got to remember that we need to divide by a whole number of 5. So that means I move this decimal to right here. Okay. All right, 5 goes into 20 4 times. Then bring down my 3. 5 can't go into 3. So now I got to put a 0, but add a 0 after the 3. So now we got 30. 5 goes into 30 6 times. Minus 30, you get 0. Right? If I have a negative and a positive, that means my solution is a negative answer. So I have 4 and 0, 6. Okay. Now we got to check our answer. Make sure my solution is correct. We're all human. We make mistakes, especially with some decimals. It's very easy to make those mistakes. Rewrite the equation exactly as it is, except instead of an x, I'm going to put a negative 4 and 600ths times my negative. I put my negative in parentheses so I know that's multiplication and not subtraction. Okay. So then if I have 406 times a half, this is now 830. 5 times 0 is 0 plus 3. And my 20. Move my decimal over 1, 2, 3 times. We have a negative O. I wrote the wrong one right here. Oh, my O3. Oops. See, I just told you we're all human. We make mistakes. I want a negative 290. And negative 203. And if you add 7 and 3, that makes a 0. 8 and 1 makes 9. And 2 and nothing makes 2. Same signs, add and keep your negative. That is the correct answer. Alrighty. So now we got the next one. 4.5 times x minus 8 tenths equals 19 and 9 tenths. Think ahead. What do you gotta do? You gotta add our 8 tenths to both sides. Line up the decimal. Bring down your 4.5x. Bring down the equal sign. Add your numbers together. They're both positive. 20 and 7 tenths. All right. So 4.5 times x is multiplication. The opposite of multiplication, division. That makes those cancel out. And then I got to do some work off to the side to find my answer. Okay? I have to have a whole number to divide. So I have 45 going into 207. Okay? Think of 50 cents. You have $2. How many 50-cent pieces will make $2? 4. Then 4 times 45 is actually 180. Okay, so we have, I'm sorry, lining this up a little bit the best that I can. All right, so then I have 2, 7, and then I have to add a 0. Okay, 45 goes into 276 times. So then x equals, and we have two positive numbers, a positive 4 and 6 tenths. Then of course we have to check our work. Okay, if I have 4.5 times, I almost put my x, well, 4 and 6 tenths minus 8 tenths. We get 19 and 9. Okay, take our 4.5 times 4.6, 6 times 5, 30. 24, 25, 26, 27. Add your zeros. 4 times 5, 20. 4 times 4, 16, 17, 18. Move our decimal over twice. So we get 20 and 7 tenths minus 0 and 8 tenths. You have $20.70 and you spent 80. That gives you $19.90. Two more to go. Right? X divided by 2 minus 2 tenths equals a negative 3 and 95 hundredths. Steps stay the same. We always get rid of the addition or subtraction first. I see subtraction. What's the opposite of subtraction? Addition. Doesn't matter what side of the equal sign it's on. If it's on the same side as the variable, we want to eliminate. So now, x divided by 2 equals my negative 375. I write x, a 1 in front of the x, it's kind of like saying I have a half times x. The opposite of doing that is multiplying by 2 on both sides. I know x is going to be a negative answer or solution because I have only one negative and one positive. Then we get 750 once you multiply those out. Then let's check our work. What we know is negative 750 divided by 2 minus 2, negative 2 tenths is going to equal a negative 3 and 96. Okay, I know this is going to be a negative answer. 2 goes into 7 3 times with 1 left over with my decimal there. 2 goes into 15 5 times. No, 2, I'm thinking 3. 2 goes into 15 7 times with a 1 left over. And 2 goes into 10 5 times. All right, a negative minus a positive, add your opposite. Okay, so then I get my negative 3 and 9500 equals a negative 3 and 9500. One more to go. All right, so a negative 1 and 2 tenths equals a negative 2 tenths minus x divided by 3 and 3 tenths. Doesn't matter what side of the equal sign it is on. If it's on the same side as our variable, we want to get rid of our subtraction or addition, or positive or negative. So I need to add my 2 tenths to both sides. Make that cancel. Now don't forget to bring down your negative with your x and 3 tenths. 2, and then I have a negative and a positive. Different sign subtracts, keep the sign of a higher value, then you'll be exact. That's a negative 1. Okay? So I see division, so I want to multiply. I'm going to carry the negative along with my 3 and 3 tenths. Okay? Whatever I do on one side, I got to do on the other side. Now, whenever you multiply something with a negative 1, all you're going to do is turn that number into its opposite. Okay? Because the negative 1 means, hey, do the opposite. So we actually have a positive 3 and 3 tenths as our solution. Then, of course, I'm going to check forward. Negative 1 and 2 tenths equals a negative 2 tenths minus 3 tenths divided by 3 or 3 tenths. Remember, if you have a number divided by that same number, it equals 1. All right. So this is where you're like, ooh, I have a negative minus a positive. We have to add the opposite. Keep, change. Whatever is helping you remember what you are actually doing. Then we have 2 negatives. That means we decreased twice. Okay? So I have a negative 1 and 2 tenths equals a negative 1 and 2 tenths. Because I had to add my 2 negatives together. All right? All right.